What's up, CW fans? So, there is no better way to upset a ton of OMs on the interwebs than by asking the question, what is the best CW key out there? Well, obviously there's no great answer and it all depends, right? That's like the big thing. But I think when you answer a question that says it all depends, it really doesn't do anybody any favors. I think the first thing we need to figure out is what are we going to do with CW? And we can branch out in two directions from that conversation. It is, do I just want to do some nostalgic, old school, slow speed, straight key stuff? Well, there's your answer. You need a straight key. If you want to do higher speed contest stuff, or even maybe even rag chewing that is a little bit on the higher side of speed, then you're going to want to have some kind of a paddle. And there are then a couple of different paddles. We're not even going to talk about bugs right now, because as far as bugs are concerned, I would consider that the advanced section of Morse code, oddly enough, because I think in order to use a bug effectively, you need to really be seasoned and skilled in Morse code /CW. But I think we're just going to focus on paddles. And when we were talking about Morse code paddles, there are two different kinds. So we've got a single lever paddle like this one here. It's got a single lever that goes back and forth, side to side. Some people call it a swiper. This can also be configured in what is called CUDI configuration if you want to. But yeah, it's left, right. There is no iambic, as it's called, which leads us to the other thing. You can also go with an iambic paddle. And what that means is we have the ability to squeeze, right? You don't have to use the paddle in squeeze form, though, which is cool. You can use it as a side swiper. So you can go left and right and left and right, left, right, left, right, right. So it's kind of just like this single lever paddle, but it does have the potential to squeeze. So because of that, some versatility, I like the two lever paddle because it gives me the options of, hey, if I just want to like side swipe and go left and right, I can. But it also gives me the ability to do iambic stuff. And I will tell you, as you might have known if you're watching some of my videos, that I am an iambic CW dude. So I like squeezing. Left, right, squeezy, squeezy. All good. And that's my favorite. So I kind of lean towards the dual lever paddles. All right, so now that we've got that out of the way, the other components that I think help make up a great CW paddle is weight. If we look at something like this Hamkey HK3, is it an HK3? Yeah, or is it HK1? That's an HK1, I think. It's so light. When I just try to move the paddles, like the whole thing moves around. There are ways you can, as a matter of fact, what I wound up doing is I took a mouse pad similar to this and I cut holes in it so that this kind of popped into those holes. So it didn't really move around as much and had some pretty good weight to this this mouse pad. So that is one way you can get away with using a light CW paddle and not have to worry about it bouncing around the desk as much. This has magnets on the back of it, which is pretty cool. It keeps it from moving around. But again, if you don't have anything magnetic to put this on, it almost becomes unusable. So I think the weight is definitely something that needs to be considered. And it just so happens that I brought a scale in here. And if we look at the weight of some of these CW keys, that is 3 pounds. I don't know if you can see that. That's 3 pounds and 4 ounces. That's pretty heavy. If we kind of even go over to the ZN key, right? Pop that on there. It's much smaller than that, right? It's 2 pounds, 14 and a half ounces. So 2 pounds, 15 ounces. That's nice and heavy. And you know what? That thing is not going anywhere. Even if I like really jump on it, it barely moves. So that was 2 pounds, 15 ounces. Throw this big granite slab on here, 2 pounds, 15 ounces, 2 pounds and 14.7 ounces. So nice and heavy. Even my special trusted bencher that I've had ever since I started this whole thing, we're at 2 pounds, 13 ounces. So we're talking weight is another one of those factors that comes into play when we're talking about, whoa, what is the best CW key? I mean, you need some weight to it. And when we're talking about weight, I think I need to qualify the fact that if you're doing like soda, someone's on the air, obviously that's a consideration, right? Weight is certainly a thing that you're going to have to worry about. And maybe looking at leg straps, 3D printed paddles, and stuff that's super light. That's a whole different conversation in itself, right? But if you're talking about like home use and, you know, you're doing some contesting or doing whatever, you know, and some folks might say, hey, you know what, in contesting, I just use the keyboard, do a Control K on N1MM, and I'm able to, you know, pound out whatever I want. That's cool. That's great. But I always have a paddle hooked up just in case my computer takes a dump in the middle of the contest and I'm in the middle of a run or people are calling me. I can at least grab a pen and paper. I always have a pen over here and some paper, a pad of paper. I can like start writing down stuff while my computer reboots. I can input that stuff later, figure it out, or at least get me to the end of a run. So when the fit hits the shan, I'm able to like grab the CW key and keep on going, especially if I'm like making some kind of a real effort in contesting. Now, the final thing that I think is really important in an awesome and the best CW paddle is adjustability. If you look at a lot of these CW paddles, I mean, you can adjust the magnets away from the actuator, and also, and you'll see this in a lot of my other videos when I do key specific videos, you can adjust the points and the distance so that you can, you know, get a feel for what each one of these is doing. And I think, yeah, let's see, this one's nicely adjustable. This one has some adjustability, of course. You know, I think you also get what you pay for. There's like a little spring in the middle of there that looks like it's been, you know, seen better days since 1965. And then also, you know, even this bencher, you've got like we've got the ability to adjust the distance between the points, but there isn't really a good way. You know, of course, there's some screws here that do some tensioning of the spring. Yeah, right. There isn't really a great way to adjust anything more on these benchers. So bencher, still awesome CW key. I've had this since 1992, I think. So totally awesome. It is what it is. But yeah, the last ingredient is personal look, feel, and touch. I mean, are you excited about jamming on a paddle like this? I mean, no offense, it's great. Maybe you like the color red. Or would you like to have like this nice chrome cool thing on your desk, and it feels good too? You know, I think feel is also an important part. This is a wood paddle. I can't remember what kind of wood that is, but it's wood. It's nice and, you know, smooth. It feels good. It's got some width to it. And then also some other things to think about is, you know, you see how low down these paddles come. You want to figure out whether that is too low for you or just right. I kind of like it on the low side, but I also have some paddles that actually come a little bit higher. This is like probably, you know, the center to this is probably maybe 1.5 inches from the ground here. The center to this one is probably maybe 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, probably, because my thumb's about a little over a 1/2 inch. So that's another thing to consider is the height of the paddle. So a couple of things. Sorry, this is probably longer than you really even wanted, but I wanted to at least spotlight some of what my thoughts were on what is the best CW paddle out there, or CW key. That's what I have. So go and get something. I think cost comes into play a little bit, although you know, the N3ZN paddle is pretty high on the higher end of price. You could probably get something similar for a little bit less. But the workmanship and craftsmanship, as you'll see on my N3ZN paddle video, is pretty awesome. He put a lot of thought into it. And of course, I've got carbon fiber finger pieces here, so that kind of makes it cool too. It's got like kind of a nice soft feel to it in kind of a weird way. But anyways, that's what I've got. Go ahead and have fun with CW, and CW on, my friends.